Hey y'all, Chris Cooking Nashville here. Today we have a special recipe that's going to be a lot of fun. Carnivore or keto or ketovore, depending on how you want to do it, chicken fried rice. I'm going to have Ash taste this because she hasn't actually had this recipe yet, and I think she's really going to like it. So let's take a look at it. Let's see what she thinks. All right, guys, Ash is going to taste the chicken fried rice, and my hair is on video today, which doesn't happen very often. I pulled it out special just for this recipe. So.
Very impressive. This must be a very fancy, important recipe.
I don't know if it's a fancy and important one, but
I showed up with no makeup and a headband, so way to one-up me.
Everyone always says I wear a hat and that I should wear my hair out and all this kind of stuff. Little do they know I normally film after work, and I don't want to get up early enough to do my hair before I go to work, and I don't have time after I get home before we film.
I think you look cute either way.
Well, you're very sweet. This is a carnivore and ketovore and keto chicken fried rice. You can do this with any protein you want. You could do shrimp, you could do fish, you could do pork, you could do beef, whatever you want. And you can do this completely carnivore by leaving out some of the seasonings that I put in this particular one. I made this kind of a ketovore version for her. You can also do this keto if you wanted to add in stir-fried veggies, you know, a little bit of like green beans or whatever it is that would fit your particular keto diet. If you wanted to do it more the traditional style fried rice like you would get from, say, a Chinese takeout place, and it would have those few veggies. So we're gonna have Ash dig in, and I think you guys will be really surprised how I make this. So let's see what she thinks.
I'm actually really, really hungry, and I will say this smells so good.
The whole house just smells amazing.
Oh, like you just walk in and you're just like, oh, so good. For starters, I'm very impressed with the appeal of it. I mean, just the way that it looks. It looks like little grains of rice. Very impressive, like how you kind of, just off the bat without tasting it, I'm like, wow, it looks like the real thing. Oh my. I was not expecting that. That is super good. Wow, that is good. Wow, words. The texture of it, it somehow has that like soft yet chewy kind of a texture that is literally like rice. The texture is like spot on. It's honestly kind of tripping up my brain because it looks like the real thing, tastes like the real thing. Really good job with that. Those are really, really good. The chicken, on point. Chicken thigh meat.
Chicken thigh, yeah.
Delicious. I love the chicken in there. The way that you have it seasoned. Spices. Is there like a sauce, like a soy sauce kind of hidden in it?
Yes, so I'll tell you guys before I even show you how we actually make the fried rice, there's a couple of videos that I'm gonna link down below that will be helpful for you. One of them is my carnivore white rice recipe, which I actually did in a steamer. I'm gonna show you an easier way to do that today for this particular usage. If you're just doing the white rice, I still think the steamed version that I did back then is probably better, but if you're gonna fry it like this, I actually have an easier way of showing you how to do that. So I'm gonna show you that today, but I will link the video down below in case you wanna see the original white rice version of this. So if you would like to make something like this, but instead of a fried rice, you want like a white rice dish. I'll link that down below. I apologize for that video. It's probably long and looks terrible, and the sound may or may not be any good because that was way back at the beginning of the channel. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I don't know if I have a clue what I'm doing now, but that video is definitely proof that we have improved.
I don't know if you know what you're doing now, because I sure don't know what we're doing now, but at least your video and your editing and all has gotten a lot better. So
yes, those things have improved. So I'm going to put that video down below. Another video, which I'll also apologize for, which was related to that one, is my carnivore soy sauce. I know that sounds nuts, but it is seriously, seriously good. That's what she's tasting. It's all animal product. It's not anything with soy or plant or any of that kind of stuff. And if you add the optional vinegar in there, it makes it almost indistinguishable from soy sauce.
I could almost like taste that flavor of soy sauce, which I was trying to figure out, like, how did you get that?
Yeah.
Seriously, this is awesome. The rice, the chicken, the way you have it seasoned, the flavoring, the soy sauce. I think you nailed it. Yeah. I literally think you could literally go put this in front of somebody and they would just think it's like a stir fry. Incredible job.
You guys make sure to check out the egg white rice video if you're interested in doing the white rice version, or get ready to watch how I'm doing the fried rice version here. And then I'll also link that soy sauce video down below if you want to make your own carnivore soy sauce. If you're keto or ketovore and you want to do like the coconut aminos, so we don't get all the soy and all the additives that are in a lot of the cheap soy sauces, you can totally do something like that. But if you want to keep it purely carnivore, you can use my carnivore soy sauce. This is the ketovore version. You can do this keto or carnivore, either one. I'm going to kind of explain in the video how to do all three as we go, where you would leave certain things out. Let's show you guys how we make carnivore, ketovore, or keto chicken fried rice. All right, these are our ingredients to make the chicken fried rice. I have 2 cups of egg whites. I would suggest a cup per person. I have about 2 tablespoons of lard. You can use tallow or bacon grease, whatever you want, some kind of animal fat. This is about 4 tablespoons of my carnivore soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of egg white powder, 2 teaspoons of beef gelatin. We're gonna use butter and 3 eggs. And then I have 3 chicken thighs here. You can use more or less chicken thighs or eggs or any of these ingredients to fit the ratios to how many people you want to serve. This is our carnivore ingredients. Now, if you want to do ketovore like I'm doing here, I'm also going to use some shallot and some garlic and a little bit of a fermented red pepper paste. You could also add veggies if you would like to make keto. And then I have salt and pepper, and that's all of our ingredients. So let's start putting this together. We're going to put the egg whites into a blender, and we're going to add in the 2 teaspoons of beef gelatin, the 3 tablespoons of egg white powder, and we're gonna start to blend this. Now I'm gonna do this on low, and I wanna mix all of this in because I don't wanna whip more air into this than necessary. I'm gonna turn it up on high just for a second to make sure there's no lumps, and then back off immediately. And you can see it gets a lot lighter. There's quite a bit of air in there, but that's fine. I'm going to pour these into a greased pan. Any size pan you have is fine. It doesn't matter. You just need to grease it so this will come out. I'm going to pour all of my egg whites in, and then I'm going to stir them and try to knock some of that extra air out. And I'm going to go over to my oven, which is set on 300 degrees, stick this egg white mixture into the middle rack, and we're going to start baking this. Now, I'm going to start checking it at 20 minutes. It's probably going to take a little more than that, but anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes should take care of it. While that's baking, I'm also going to start trimming up my chicken thighs, just taking off any little pieces of bone, any hunks of fat, anything that just wouldn't be particularly pleasant to eat. Make sure you get all of those little bits out of there that the store or the butcher may have left in. And then I'm going to cut these into strips in this direction, and then I'm going to turn them and I'm going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. These are about a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, whatever size pieces you would like, but I'm going to cut all of my chicken thighs into pieces so that they're ready to cook. If you're going to do the ketovore version, also go ahead and chop up the shallot and the garlic. So I'm just taking 1 large shallot here. I'm going to dice it up really fine, and then I'm going to take the garlic and I'm going to slice it in large slices. These are going to end up getting fried with some of the animal fat, and we're going to make them kind of like crispy browned shallots and garlic. It's going to be a fantastic addition in with this rice. So just be careful. Get your veggies chopped up if you would like to do that. This is also the time when you would get any other veggies ready and cooked. If you would like to make this a keto version of a fried rice, you could put green beans or any other veggies in there that you would like as like a stir-fried veggie. So once the garlic and shallots are ready, we can continue working on the fried rice. So this ended up taking 35 minutes. We want this to be cooked so it does not jiggle. All we need to do is run a knife around the edge of the pan so that we can turn these out. It does not matter if these come out of the pan beautifully or not. We're just going to scrape all the rest of this out because we're going to chop this up into rice anyway. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't look pretty, it's going to taste fantastic. So I'm just going to cut this up in some chunks so that it will fit in my food processor. But you can see here it is fully cooked, fully set all the way through, almost like a hard-boiled egg. So I'm going to put this into the food processor so we can turn it into rice. Now I'm going to use a combination of the pulse button and stirring this with a spatula to try to get this chopped up. You don't want to turn this into a paste, but you want to chop this into a fine grind. So I'm going to go in here, chop it up a little bit more with my spatula, and then I'll put the lid back on. I'll turn the food processor back on again, pulse it a few more times until I can get something that approximates a rice grain. It's going to start clumping together, so it's a little difficult to see. So you're going to want to take the lid off and check it, but you can see it's starting to fall apart and it has kind of a rice grain texture. Now we're gonna dump this out onto a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Spread this rice thin and chop up any large pieces you see. Chop up any clumps that you see. We're going to let this sit in open air and cool down. It's going to remove some of the moisture, and it's gonna make this a little bit easier to cook with, and the parchment paper is gonna make it much easier to put into a pan. Now we're gonna go ahead and set a pan to a medium-high heat, and I'm gonna take about a tablespoon of animal fat. It doesn't really matter exactly, but we're just gonna put some fat into the bottom of this pan, spread that around, and we're gonna go ahead and cook the chicken. I'm gonna fry the chicken in this on that medium-high heat. And what we're gonna do is put some color on the chicken, get it cooked through nicely. Now, because this is chicken thigh, it's easy to keep it moist. So we're gonna put a couple of pinches of salt over the top and a little bit of black pepper just to give it some seasoning, and the salt will help pull out some of the extra moisture so we can get some color on the chicken. And we're just gonna keep that busted up into individual pieces while it cooks. Once it's done cooking, we'll remove it and put it in a bowl so it's ready to go to our fried rice when the time comes. We're gonna take the same dirty pan and we're going to put the heat onto a low heat now. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of that butter and just start melting that around. So you can see my pan is hot, but it is not super steaming hot. I just want this to be enough to start to sizzle the butter. Now we're gonna take our rice egg whites that have cooled and we're gonna dump this into the pan. We're frying this on low because we wanna remove moisture, but we don't want to put any color on this just yet. What we need to do is cook out all of the sulfur gas. So I'm gonna stir this around through the butter, get it all coated with the butter, and I'm gonna cook this over low until you can see that it stops clumping together and it starts to become more crumbly. So just continue to cook this on low until you get more of that rice texture, breaking it up as you go, and then we can remove it, put it back onto the cookie sheet on the parchment paper, and let it cool again as we continue the recipe. Next, we're going to set our temperature to medium-low using the same pan and another tablespoon plus of animal fat. We're going to go ahead and fry up our shallots and garlic. So I'm gonna get this melted down over that medium-low heat. I'm gonna dump in my finely diced shallot, and I'm going to add my sliced garlic. And we're just gonna keep stirring this around. We want this to start to turn golden brown. It's gonna get a little bit sweeter on the shallot side, and the garlic is going to get slightly golden brown, and it's gonna start getting a crispy texture. It's absolutely fantastic. We're gonna fry this, and then we're going to move this over to a bowl so it's ready to be added to the fried rice when the time is right. And now the time has come. We're going to take 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, put it into our skillet, and I'm going to turn this on to a medium heat. We want this to be hot enough to fry the rice, but we don't want it to be so hot that it fries too quickly and potentially burns. Melt down all of your butter, and then we're going to take that dried out egg white rice that we have, that we fried the first time. We're going to dump it back into this second amount of butter, and we're going to start stirring the butter through. Now, this is a medium heat, so we want to keep this moving because this will start to brown, which we do want, but we don't want it to burn. And we're gonna keep stirring this around. We're gonna add a little pinch of salt now. We're gonna start to season this. We don't wanna do it all at one time, so a pinch or 2 of salt and some cracks of fresh black pepper will season this really nicely, and we can continue to fry. When we first start seeing color starting to happen on the rice, we're gonna create a well in the center of the pan, and I'm gonna take my eggs, which I have beaten up into scrambled eggs, and I'm gonna pour them right into the middle of that rice. Now, I'm not gonna touch it for a second, and then I'm gonna start doing little circles right here. I'm gonna fry the eggs right in the middle of this egg white rice. And you can see I'm scraping the bottom and turning it over. We're going to scramble these eggs right in the middle of the rice. And then once all of the extra moisture is gone and they are scrambled and cut up into little pieces, we can stir them back in with the rice, which you can now see is starting to brown on the bottom perfectly. Once the eggs are scrambled and mixed through, we'll go ahead and add the shallots and the garlic if you're using that, and we'll go ahead and stir that through as well. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add another 2 tablespoons of butter. This is really important because the first chunk of butter is going to be very quickly absorbed by all these ingredients. So we need to add an additional 2 tablespoons of butter to the pan. We're also going to add in that 3 to 4 tablespoons of the carnivore soy sauce. That's gonna steam and start to cook away. And you can use more or less of that to your taste. We're gonna add that in there, stir that all through really, really well. And if you're using that hot sauce, that fermented hot sauce, this would be the time to add that and stir that through as well. The last thing we need to do is dump our chicken back into the pan, and I'm gonna dump that right on top and go ahead and turn off the heat because the fried rice is coming together now. I'm gonna stir the chicken through, let the residual heat in the pan cook the chicken, really warm it up more than even cook it. And all we have to do is touch it with one final bit of seasoning, salt and pepper to your taste, and it is ready to plate and we can enjoy. All right, guys, that's how we make the carnivore and ketovore and keto chicken fried rice. It's pretty crazy that you can make egg whites just have that texture. It works well.
It's honestly kind of mind-boggling, especially because, like, you know how I feel about things that taste like egg?
Yes.
Not a fan. And I know that clearly this is made with eggs, but it does not taste like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like it. It doesn't look like egg.
Yeah. The only parts of this that taste like eggs are the big chunks of the scrambled egg, which is supposed to taste like eggs because that's normally in fried rice.
Right.
But when you do all of that extra frying to the egg whites, it pulls all of that sulfur gas out of the eggs. That's why we chop them all up, and that's why I double fry it so I can dry it out the first time and pull that sulfur out, and then you fry it the second time to put the color on it.
It's really
Get the
cool.
texture right. That's the egg white fried rice. This is an absolutely amazing recipe. It's also very budget friendly because you can do like chicken thigh, which is budget friendly. Eggs are generally fairly cheap to get. You can buy the cartoned egg whites if you want to do it without having to crack a bunch of eggs. I would say a cup of egg whites per person, and then maybe one chicken thigh, or like maybe half a chicken thigh to one chicken thigh, depending on how hungry everyone is per person, and you can just work the ratios from there. Use maybe one egg per person for the scrambled egg. You can use more, you can use less. It's really up to you. This is so customizable. I also imagine this will reheat really well because there's no weird textural thing to have to protect, like with an egg white bread or something like that. This doesn't have any of those things going on. So I imagine this should reheat really well. So if you made this and you wanted to freeze it in portions, put it in a skillet with a little bit of butter and just fry it up real quick and bring it back, I think you could totally do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys. We can't do this without you. All of my links are down below, along with a link to my brand new website. There will be recipe cards there, including a recipe card for this one. My email address and a contact form is all there. So I know some of you guys like make the recipes and you have pictures of the recipe that you've made and you're not sure how to send it to me. You're welcome to send me stuff there. There's also gonna be like a newsletter and different things you can sign up for. All of that is there. There's a bunch of resources for you guys. I'd love for you to check out the website and all of my other links down below. Thank you guys for watching. This is Chris Cookin' Nashville and my wife, Miss Ash Taylor over here. Appreciate you guys being here. Remember, eat your meat and your fried rice. Love your life. We'll see you here in the kitchen for the next recipe.
Mind blown. Very trippy.
Yeah.
It literally tastes like rice. Very good.
Well, let's go dig in and eat until we have
Yes.
food.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, I already ate like a whole plate, but I'll eat again. No problem.